It's time to bring you yet another amazing episode. And now, welcome your host.
Good to have you on the show. This is the host Omobola Stephen and the host of Library by Omobola Stephen, a podcast which focuses on personal development and self-improvement. Talking about how we can merge business and finding our freedom. I have Richard Walsh, who is the CEO of Sharpen the Spirit Coaching, a best-selling author, speaker, and is also a podcast host, just as I am. Welcome to the show, Richard Walsh.
Thank you, Omobola. I appreciate it. Great being here.
Great to have you, Richard, on the show. I'd like us to begin the show with this question. I realize I learned that your movement helps 10,000 business owners create freedom, profit, and impact in their business. So how on earth do you do this, Richard?
So, well, it's one business at a time, really. You know, we have multiple coaches. Obviously, we work in multiple businesses, but it's what we want to do, Omobola, is what people have done in the past, the Industrial Revolution and everything else that brought us to this point was time for dollars. Everything is, I want you to work as much as possible and I want to pay you as little as possible, right? That's kind of been the mainstay of developing business for 120 plus years or longer, right? So we want to look at different business differently because most people get into business for themselves for freedom. They want to be in control of their time. They want to make more money, right? They want to have as much as they want. They want to, and they actually do want to make impact. How do they affect others? Well, how can they give to people, right? How can they give to charities and do that with their excess? But the problem is people get into business and they're unable to get that freedom because they end up doing everything themselves. They start a business is very difficult to begin. You have to work a lot of hours and that's okay. There's no way really around that. But eventually you need to start being able to get yourself separated from that business by delegating, automating, eliminating things. And then you start to have the freedom. And now you can look at the business at a different level, which also helps you create more profit, right? So the problem again is people get that first 2-year mentality. They're working hard. And next thing you know, 10 years has gone by and they've repeated the first 2 years 5 times. So they're on a hamster wheel. They're just running in place. They can't really grow. They can't scale. They can't get time off. They can't take vacations with their family. They can't get to their kids' games, but they own a business. So they think they've got a sense of freedom, you know, because they control their schedule. Now they work twice as much as any employee, you know, which was never the idea going in. So the goal is how do we do that? So my business is to show them how to systemize their business into what we call working on their 5%. And that's the 5% of the business only they can do. The vision, the growth tactics, things like that. They don't need to do the accounting. They don't need to do the marketing. They don't need to do every other step. They don't need to open the door every morning so the business can start. That's the prison. That's when you get stuck, when you have to do all of that. So if we can free them from that, just by that process of freeing them from those dailies or wearing all those hats, the business begins to make incredible profit too, because it has to, because of the way it's run. And once they get that, now they can make the impact. Now they can go speak, right? They can share with maybe kids coming up in the trades business, right? They can give people hope. They can go out and they give to charities, right? They can help their people become not just better workers, but better people. And when they do that, they take that home with them. Now they affect their families. Their families are in the community. Now the community is affected because of what you did as a business owner, right? So if I help 10,000 business owners help elevate their people and they go home, that goes in the community, we can actually touch millions of people. We can change their lives by doing business the way it should be done.
Really, doing business the way it should be done. Now, you emphasize freedom and business. Now, I'm thinking, but I really like you to respond to 2-in-1 questions, really. So what is the real reason why a business can rob the owner of their free time with little profit? Now, that's number one question. And the second question is more like it. I'd like you to talk about why we should pursue time freedom just as much as we pursue financial freedom.
Okay, let me start with the second one first. Okay, so why is the freedom so important? Okay, people want to know that. Like, what does that mean? Like, how does freedom get profit, right? We want to, well, how does freedom create profit? So oftentimes people hear you need to have work-life balance, right? People, that's a term that people use. So you can't be all business. You can't be all pleasure, right? All free time. You can't just sit around doing nothing. You have to do business. So we want to do both. And why? And what does that actually look like? The problem with that saying is they say, yo, you need work-life balance, and they walk away and they don't tell you how to do it. Well, what does that actually mean, right? That's what we're talking about. And I have a thing called the 5 F's. It's faith, family, finances, fitness, and friendships. That's outside your business. Okay. You have to balance that along with running your business. So there's actually 6 components, right? You need a successful self-operating business that can run without you for the most part, so that you can also have time for those 5 F's, right? And that's where you get the balance. Now, it's not easy, but nothing worth having is easy. So when we talk about why do we get the freedom in the business, it's for that. Because if you run, I'll give you my own personal story. Back in 2008, 9, I'd been in business about 20 years and everything was collapsing. The economy was collapsing, all the issues, my business was collapsing. Even though I was real successful up to that point, things started to collapse around me, and I could see the writing on the wall that my business is over. At the same time, I had 6 small children, 4 years and younger. And what I realized was, everything to me was business first. I have to be successful, right? I have to win awards. I have to be number one. I have to, make more money. I have to drive. And I realized, Omobola, that if I continued that path, all my children will know is business comes first. And that's going to ruin their lives. It's going to ruin their relationships. They're going to have broken marriages. They might have a successful business in the world's point of view. They make money, but everything around them will be destroyed. They won't have any good friends. They won't have any relationships. Their faith will be non-existent, right? Even their finances, even that's going to suffer, because they're about gross revenue, right? They're trying to drive and get bigger and grow. So that was a big epiphany for me. And because what I realized was my children just wanted to be around me. They didn't care what I drove. They didn't care where we lived, right? They didn't care what business I was, what I had, right? And so that really put things in perspective for me. So even though everything collapsed, I lost that business, lost my home, we started over, but I did it again the right way. And that's the balance. That's why I started seeing what real freedom is, right? And freedom isn't just doing whatever you want when you want. That sounds nice, but I use the analogy like this. So if I'm a lion and I'm in a cage and I open the door, the lion is free, right? So the lion runs out, but what's the lion going to do? He's going to eat this person. He's going to see food on the table. He can do whatever he wants, right? That's not freedom, is it? That's just being able to do whatever you want. So you're affecting others. So freedom really is tied into what we call liberty, right? And that's the responsibility of freedom, not to do everything that you can do because you're free, right? So there's restraint, and that corresponds with your business. I can grow massive, but is that really going to serve me and what my impact is going to be? Is that something that's going to be controllable, or is that going to drive me into another cage? Right. So we have to really start to understand what that means. And once we get that, we can drive using vision. We can have a vision-driven business to understand what the end is. So we start with the end in mind. So we want to be able to do that. And that, again, when you're able to do that, you have a sense of control and you have purpose and you have a roadmap, right? And that roadmap now enables you to get that freedom and or liberty and increase your profit. Right. So now you have a place for your money to go. You understand what that is because you have the time to think about that. Freedom's also your time. So I can always make more money. Okay. Money's replenishable. I can always make more money. But time, if I miss my son or my daughter's soccer game and they score a goal and they're all excited, the first goal ever, and they look in the stands, I'm not there, I can never get that back. I'll never see that first goal again, ever. It's gone forever. Money, I can make more money tomorrow. So money's never our focus. Money becomes a byproduct to the freedom in building our business that way. Does that make sense?
Really, it does make sense in some way. But some school of thought opines that if you don't give quality time to your business, it's going to suffer. So what do you say to this?
So quality, and that's the point, is quality time, right? Quality time, not time. not busy time, not doing everything, just being busy or not even being productive. You're just doing things. Quality times means I'm going to build a system. I'm going to take a position. I'm going to lay out all its job functions. I'm going to say exactly all the things, what they actually do in this position. Then I'm going to do another column that says how we do all this. Then I have a third column that's the training on how to do it. Now we built a system. So if I have someone new come on board, they're instantly trained following the system. They can get up to speed within a week on their job. Now they can work independently, right? If I do that with every position in my business, it doesn't require my time. I don't have to look over their shoulder. I have built-in accountability. So that's what systemization is. So we want to build that because that enables me to work on my 5%, right? The 5% only I can work on. It doesn't mean you never come back to your business and you ignore it. Obviously, you have to watch things, right? We're looking at profit and loss. We're looking at all this stuff, making sure our machine that we created is running properly. Just like you check the oil in your car and you put gas in your car, you still have to do things, right? There's still maintenance. You got to take it in, have it worked on, keeping it up to speed, right? The way it should be. So that's why you never neglect your business. What you do is you build it so it can take care of itself. That's what's important because you can't be like a bicycle. You can't pedal constantly. And eventually you're going to have to glide or you can take a break going downhill or whatever that looks like. But we really need to understand, like, if the business relies on me, I'm in trouble. It can't rely 100% on me for everything. You get burned out. You can't grow. You can't scale. You lose all your time. So that's why the quality aspect of what you said, Omobola, is really important. You got to focus on quality and achieving these things. It's a lot of work right now for freedom in the very near future. So just put the time in, you get each section done, and then go from there.
But really, for new entrants into the business, I'm talking about those who just launch out, talking about finding freedom as such on early stage of the business can quite challenging. And so at what point in the business or in a person's business should they begin to consider finding the freedom time?
There's a strategy for this, okay? And it's called creating an exit strategy. This is beginning with the end in mind. So if I have a great idea and I think it's going to be an incredible business and I'm going to make whatever I'm going to make, what you have to decide in the beginning is, well, how long am I going to do this? When am I going to get out of this business? How much am I going to sell the business for? How much is enough? How much do I need? What does that look like? And once you decide that, you reverse engineer. So you work yourself backwards. Okay, what's it going to take to get to that? That becomes your business filter. So now I understand everything I do has to get me closer to the exit strategy. If I say it's 10 years and I want, $50 million in an exit strategy, I want to have this much passive income coming in so I can support myself even if I'm not working. When do I hire my first person, my second person, my fifth, my 10th? I understand where the business is going to be to achieve that exit strategy. So what that means is, first couple of years, a lot of hard work, but the point when you hire the first person. And as soon as you hire one person, you create margin in your life. You give yourself time margin. Second person, you get more. Third person, you get more, right? But we know when that point is. We know where it's at in the business. We know the income level we're at, the margin, right? The gross revenue product, where we're at in that, and we know when to put people on. So that's how you build the business. So you see your freedom coming in small pieces. It's not one day you're this free person. You're earning it. You're earning your freedom every day because you're following a plan that you started at the end with, and you understand exactly where you're going. So here in America, if I'm in New York, you're in the Bronx right now. If I'm there and I want to drive to California and I don't have a map, two things are going to happen. I'm probably going to see the entire country because I don't know really where I'm going. And I might end up at the Gulf of Mexico instead of the Pacific Ocean and think I arrived and I'm not in the right place. Right. So we need to have that roadmap. We have to have something to follow. Without something to follow, it's aimless. It's endless work. There's a great saying: never confuse motion with progress. A rocking horse stays in motion but doesn't make any progress. Right. So just because you're busy and you're making money, but again, it's that 2 years times 5, 10 years, and you're still doing the first 2 years. It's that. Are you really moving forward towards your exit strategy? Are you going to reach that goal? So that's how you plan freedom inside your business.
All right. I like the fact that you emphasize exit strategy. And so, what do you think, or why do you think a person should plan for their exit strategy in the business, even if they have just started? Or at what point should they begin to plan for that?
Yeah, there's two times to do your exit strategy. The first one is before you start your business. So if you're going to launch on Monday, by Sunday you should have an exit strategy. Okay, you should understand how much is enough, just everything we talked about, where I'm going to go, what I wanted to do, and you got to start somewhere. So you have that. The second best time to do it is right now. So if you've been in business 10 years, right now, make an exit strategy. If you've been in business 5 years, you've been in business 20 years, if you don't have an exit strategy, you'll never be able to exit because you haven't built the value, you haven't built systemization, you haven't built a business that's attractive to buyers. Because if I want to go buy your business, well, I don't want to come in and like recreate it and fix everything and do all that. I want to come in and go, wow, Omobola's like never here, and this thing runs great. Oh, I hardly ever see her here, and that's good. And everything's going. They're doing really good. They're making great money. The profit margins are right. This is a well-run organization. So we negotiate a price. You want $5 million for it. We end up saying, okay, I'll give you $5 million. You hand me it. I hand you a check. You shake my hand. You're out the door. I'm in, and nobody knows the business sold because this runs so well. Right? That's what we want. But if you can't achieve that, if you don't know where you're going with the business, because you're not going to be able to build it to be like that so you can exit. So there's a huge benefit to that. And when you do have an exit strategy and you understand where you're going, oftentimes as we get successful in our business, a lot of opportunity is going to come to you. People have great ideas and they want you to invest in this, and you should do this with your business or do that with your business. This will make you this much more money. Well, the key to that is you take that idea or proposition, run it through your exit strategy. Does it get you closer to your exit, or does it detract from it, keep you further? If it detracts from it, you say no. If it gets you closer, okay, I can do that because that's going to speed me to my exit. So it becomes an incredible business filter to keep you very focused on the main thing, the thing you actually want to achieve, and that's that exit and building that business again to whatever size. And it's not going to get you pulled off to the left or the right to do something that looks kind of attractive, but really isn't going to serve you well. So it's a really, really good tool.
All right. So you want to talk about creating a positive impact. Is it really good for business?
Yeah. So I think if we're just running a business to make money, okay, and I get it, that's like everyone's initial thing. I want to make money. I make this much at a job. I can make 10 times that if I run my own business, and that's the idea anyways. Will they do it? But then what? Again, what are we working for? What are we making all this money for? If I can generate $10 million a year, I can take home $1 million a year myself. I still have an excess of $1.5 million above all my costs and operating and everything else. Like, what am I going to do with that money? Do I have a plan for it? Who can I help with that money? That's impact. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. A lot of different charities, local. I'm a big fan of local. Like, I'm not going to give to, let's say, a national breast cancer awareness thing. Someone walk around with a pink bucket and tell me to donate. Some kid comes up to me. I'm not doing that because I don't know where that money's going. I'm not going to put money in a bucket that I have no idea who it's actually going to. I'd rather go to the hospital, to the oncology department, and literally hand a cancer patient money because I know they get it all and they can use it. It'll help them. Right. So it's just a mindset thing. I don't, necessarily have to do that. But when we look locally and we help locally and we lift our surroundings up, right, that's the impact I'm talking about. You're giving back to the community. These people work for you. We talked about earlier, making them better as people. So we get to help improve that way as people. We get to go out and touch the community. Maybe there's a foster care system, right? And you want to help that. Or there's say a women's shelter, a men's shelter, that kind of thing. You can give to those individually and help elevate the community, to help people that way, create mentorship programs for kids in schools and things like that. So I love to focus on that, what's immediately around us, because that change goes out like ripples on a pond. So that's the kind of impact you can make with your business. But it goes back to the exit strategy, understanding where your money's going to go. Everything has a place. It's called Parkinson's law. If you don't have a designated use for your money, that money will evaporate. So I could give you $100, give you $100 bill. You'll put it in your pocket. You'll take a couple girlfriends out to lunch. You'll have a good time, do all that. But a week later, you won't even remember that $100. It didn't have a place. You just spent it. You had a nice meal and okay, but what did it impact? What did it do for you? Not much, right? But when we have purpose and we have a place for everything to go, that's how we begin to create the impact because we understand what we can allocate. We know exactly what we have. We know the excess. We know how to put that to use and help it multiply because we really want our money to multiply, affect, and our surroundings.
Thank you, Richard Walsh, for sharing that incredible insight with my audience. Because your movement really help business owners. You talk about creating freedom for them, profit and impact. But I'd like us to just quickly talk about profit building too. Do you think referrals are the most underrated and underutilized profit building tool in the business?
On referrals? So what you asked? Sure. Yeah. So I think what a lot of people miss is always looking for the next new thing, the next new customer. I need to get a new customer, a new customer, a new customer. When the data, the reality is, if someone buys from you once, unless you gave them a horrible experience, they're going to buy from you again. Okay. And that literally is referral business, right? So we want to take care of our existing customers as much as we want to get the new customer. Yes, we need new customers, but the ones who are satisfied with what we did, they love what we did, they buy it again and again, they're going to be our referral system. They're going to become raving fans who love us and want to tell others about our business and use us. So they are instrumental in a profit increase because a referral, you don't spend any marketing dollars for. So there's no expense to having John tell Sally, use Richard's business. And she goes, okay, well, since you recommended, I will. There's no cost to that to the business. New customers, you have to pay marketing, right? Your cost, might be $50 to acquire a new customer. It might be $1,000, depending on your offering, right? So we want to make sure we understand there's nothing wrong with marketing, and that's one arm, but referrals, they're right there in front of you. And one customer, think of it this way. You go to a car dealer. I have 6 children, my wife and I. We both drive cars. Now all 5 of my 6 children drive cars. Okay. So to a car dealer, I buy a new car every 3 years, every 3.5 years. So does my wife. They're $60,000 to $80,000 a car, $100,000 a car. Okay. So every 3 years, 1, 2, that's almost $200,000. Plus my children will become customers. They'll buy cars. So think of lifetime profitable value over the next 20 to 30 years. I'm worth multiple 7 figures to that car dealer if he takes care of me, if I want to come back and do business with them again. But if they ignore me, don't even give me a free oil change or anything, well, I can go to any dealer and get a car. Why would I create loyalty to this? But literally my family is worth multiple 7 figures to that dealership. And I'm one family. Imagine you have 1,000 families, 10,000 families. Look at the income. Now, when you want to sell that business and you go, here's my lifetime profitable value. Here's my list of customers who have bought from me multiple times. They've already spent $900,000 with me over the last 10 years. Okay. That's worth a lot to sell to someone because they know they're going to continue to buy because you've got a system that keeps them, right? So that's where referrals are just that people just don't think right about them. That's what I correct a lot of businesses. And you really got to understand, spend the time on them, create the relationships, serve them again and again. They'll keep coming back. Just like a great restaurant. You go back because the service is great, the food's great, the ambiance is great. They've created an environment where you want to go to because it brings you joy, right? It makes you happy. The food, you just have an incredible experience. You're worth a lot of money to that restaurant over the next 5, 10, 15 years. You're dropping $100, $200, $300 every time you go there 2, 3 times a month. Well, that's a lot of income. And then you have 5,000 people who do that. That's amazing. So that's really how the referral system should be thought about when you're implementing it into your business.
Richard, my audience is looking forward to learning of any projects you have in the pipeline, which you think is going to be beneficial or exciting to them. This is just the right time for you to share that with them.
Yeah. So I think what's really exciting, I think, in business is your ability to help people, right? So anyone who work, and not just the people who work for you. So you can help them. Again, you can help the community, you can help people around you. You can build a business for yourself that gives you freedom, profit, and impact. You can do these things. You can go from working 80 hours a week in your business and get it down to 10 to 20. And that's a huge difference. That's freedom. So you're looking, you pop in 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day on your business, a business that's self-running, right? Maybe 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. There's a lot of freedom in that. Now you can spend all the time you want with kids and grandkids. You can make the impacts you want. You can help others, right? So there's a lot of joy in that. But if you don't build it properly, you're going to be caught in the owner prison, right? So what we really want to do is understand that we can create the freedom in our business and have what we want. We all want that. No one wants to be, trapped in their business, but you can do it. You just got to build that roadmap and understand where you're going to go with it.
Yeah. Do you have any projects in the pipeline you think they need to learn about?
Wow. Yeah, if someone's starting a business, I'm just going to recommend they can go to my website, sharpenthespiritcoaching.com, and you'll see startups, and there's a 16-week online course they can take that'll really help them, because when they're new in business, you have so much to learn. It's really, really difficult. 97% of all new businesses fail within the first 5 years. So you really got to get a good start, because you're excited, you want to get going, but you don't know what to do. You just have an idea and you know you can do it and you have the enthusiasm, but you need that direction. So that's one thing I can offer to them for sure. Just like Escape the Owner Prison, my book will be another great tool. So don't just learn, don't just read, you have to do. So take your knowledge and apply it into your business. If getting a coach is a great thing, get a coach, depending on where you're at in your business, where they can help you avoid costly mistakes, right? Bad decisions, things like that are going to really hurt your business. And you can compress time and move forward a lot quicker. Okay. Build your network. Find other business owners. Talk to people who have been where you want to go, because they're going to help you a lot too. So those are a few things you can do.
Thank you once again, Richard Walsh. You're the CEO of Sharpen the Spear Coaching. You're a best-selling author, speaker, and also a podcaster. We've been tremendously inspired and transformed with your insight. Thank you once again for sharing your thoughts with my audience. Wish you best of luck in all the projects that you embark upon.
Thank you, Omobola. I love being here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate your time and also your insight. Once again, Richard, if you'd like to catch up with any missed episodes on the show, you can do so on any course promotion platforms or any podcast distribution platforms online. I do have a great time as you listen to inspiring and transformative topics on personal development and self-improvement. I need you always to stay safe. I talk to you soon. Thank you once again, Richard. It was a great time indeed.
Good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was great.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe and leave us a review.